So first I would just like to show the very few things that are a possible source of misunderstanding. The trill and glissando in bar 2. So every time she writes a trill on a diamond shape harmonic, natural harmonic, it is, and it's not, I've seen some people play it like that, which basically gives you the same right pitches, but it's a very different sound than it's a kind of a seamless transition between the two notes. So then you have a trill which goes with a while you are doing the trill, you are moving closer to the bridge, and it's important that, just like when Esteban played it, that it's a new color. If you think that the first section is until the first ritenuto in bar 6, then I think that what happens, the subito forte in bar 3 could actually, you could kind of interrupt a little more the peacefulness of the quotation from Sonia's Lullaby of all this. It wants to stop, but this new thing comes in. Right. For me now it had a more of a shape. It introduces all the material of this piece. The lullaby, the Sonia's Lullaby, and the tarantella, and then finishes it. So it's a beautiful shape. And now in the next bar, in bar 7, it's important to realize that you have the melody, which is the from the first measure. So you need to balance those double stops. And again, let's see where, now if we see that this section takes us to that bar 30, end of the bar 13. In bar 10, you have the long trill there. You have to keep the tension going. It's not a stop on that trill. And then when you have the that it's the first time that it's the fast material, but it's in mezzo piano now. It's very important that when you come to that it really starts from that trill and then takes you and then you bring it to the end of 17. This is actually an important thing that I had forgotten to mention. All of these trills, these special trills of Kaija's, you mustn't try to play them at a certain speed. You have to find the speed in which both notes speak, both the harmonic and the stop note. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the trill can be on some notes it can be quite fast, but here for this last one cannot be very fast. If you play it too far, we only hear the high note, but we need to hear them both. That's the whole thing about why she wanted to write these trills.
Yeah, that's great to have different colors for the beats and different colors and textures for harmonics.
Yeah, yeah. And now again you have you come and with the forte material and you break this peacefulness. That difficult, but suddenly for a little while it's playful, which is the only time that happens in this piece. Where she's kind of written out the accidents that could happen between those two notes and their harmonics. You went a little bit too soft in the sense that it sounded like it wanted to finish before it did finish. Mm-hmm. So if you can just keep this playfulness in bar 19 and then like stretch that ending while you play with this C sharp and G. Right, and as you notice, there is no ritenuto here. She's written it out. The ritenuto is actually that stretching that happens there. So the fermata is the only thing that you can actually stretch rhythmically. Until then, you keep the tempo. 23 is so again you could call that playfulness, but it's this pointillism there is very nice. And what is really hard at the end of that bar is this. So that glissando, which doesn't want to actually sound, but it's again that you have to actually accept that there's no way of being absolutely sure how it comes out. This that she always writes the end of the like as a little note, the end of the glissando to show you where it should go, but you shouldn't articulate that note. So you shouldn't do not like that, but it's go on. Yeah, the temptation when one gets these very strong and fast passages is to start playing faster than what you should, because like you were at the limit of it no longer being clear. There's a harmonic trill glissando in bar 27. You get, by chance, you get some of those harmonics while you okay, that's good, and that also actually that gives me a reason to talk about the left-hand pizzis that Kaija writes. She writes all of these pizzicatos that start a passage as a left-hand pitch, but obviously sometimes when you have time you can play that as a left-hand pitch, but you could also do it depending how you want it to sound, especially at the very end when we come to the lullaby section. I like each of these pizzicatos that starts to be somehow a different color, to play them to explore really the colors of the pizzicatos. There's a very complicated bar. These are probably the most technically challenging bar, which is the bar 33. I can't say anything except that it's worth practicing them because I realize that if I don't practice that bar really well, it's not going to happen in the concert. That difficult bar was really excellent, but what you could still work on is the continuation from one bar to the next. In a player's mind, mezzo piano and piano are quite close, but in her mind they were quite far. I think for her, mezzo piano is more of a kind of a character dynamic than piano. And then there's the mezzo forte, and then in this then you can make a crescendo here, which should be really noticeable, so that you can hear, so that you have enough space to do a diminuendo there. About the notation of harmonics, like if we look at bar 34, this, she doesn't need to put the second string mark there because she uses diamonds when the sounding note is different than the note that you press. The last big anger is what comes now, the fortissimo. calm down a little bit here when it says Kalandam, so that when you land on the downbeat of the last bar, you are already kind of calm, more calm. Mm-hmm. Can you play it one more time? So this silence here is the most dramatic one, and you have to sort of build your architecture of the piece. It's very difficult between the first and the second pizzicatos. Mm-hmm. That how do we make that? And it's good to remember that, as I mentioned, that for her there was a possibility of finishing the piece with this bar. Mm-hmm. That this is, in a way, this is the end of the lullaby. And now what follows is really something else. What you need to think are these transformations. This is actually the kind of memory of her earliest cello pieces. And that when you obviously need to change bows, I have sometimes done up to 5 bows here, but you did absolutely fine with just three. The important thing is that it's piano sempre, that it doesn't get softer. There's no diminuendo at any moment. And the end is when you stop playing. There's no fermata. There's a fermata for the silence, but when you stop, it's just like life stops suddenly, and but this that don't be afraid of letting this the movement of the bow be heard, and you should never change the bow where on a bar line or when the new thing starts. That bow changes are independent of what happens in the left hand. That way we don't. It sounds legato, and there are no rhythmical impulses. So I think, unless you think that we've forgotten something, I think we've covered everything.